Welcome back to the Tree of Life Crochet Along. This is going to be part 97 of the Crochet Along, and it's the last written part in the pattern, and the wonderful pattern by Nicky Epstein from Lion Brand. Free crochet pattern. There's the pattern number from lionbrand.com. This beautiful crocheted Afghan was inspired by Nicky Epstein's original pattern, and one day I'm going to knit this Afghan. It won't be anytime soon, but anyway, and there it is. So last row of leaves edging to reverse single crochet Afghan border and weave in the ends. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. Okay, and here is the leaves edging that we made in the last couple of videos. We did the leaves, and then we did this row and then this row. Okay, and what we're going to be doing is attaching each one of these reverse single crochet stitches to our Afghan border, and I made a little sample piece to go with this, so the yarn will be big enough so you can see it. And so let's pretend this is my Afghan, and that's the border all the way around. We did 2 rows of the reverse single crochet. We did our first row in the front loop only, and then all the way around, and then when we were done with that, we did the single crochet in that back loop, and then we did another row of reverse single crochet, and we did not work into the back loop. We worked into the front loop only, and we left that back loop, and that's what we're going to be attaching our leaves edging to. Okay, so what we have to do is pick a side, top or bottom, to start attaching your leaves. What I did is I just started on the bottom of my Afghan, and I didn't start at the very corner. I went in just a little bit. So I started at the bottom and I went all the way around like that. But it does not matter where you start. You can start on a corner, you can start in the middle, you can start either side, top or bottom. Okay, it's not going to show where you start. So let's pretend this is the edging of our Afghan, and what we're going to do is work into that back loop, the unworked loop. Okay, and it's very easy to see, and we're going to be attaching our yarn, or I'm sorry, our leaves edging to it. And what we have to do is turn it this way, and this is how it's going to get attached. Okay, so we're going to attach the back of our reverse single crochet stitches to that unworked back loop from our last row of reverse single crochets. Okay, and so we need to put the back of the Afghan to the back of our leaves, just like so. Okay, and that way the front of the Afghan and the front of the leaves will be on the same side when we're done sewing them together. Okay, and I've shown you where we're going to attach our leaves edging to the Afghan, the back loop. Now let me show you where we're going to attach our reverse single crochets. There are 2 loops on the back of our reverse single crochets. One goes like this, leans left, and one leans right. Okay, and you can do either one. You can go into either one, and with your yarn and your thread needle, and I went into the one that is leaning towards the right, just like so, and attached it using that loop. And you can use this loop if you'd like to. I use this loop. It just seems to be a little more sturdy and in one place. This one's a little bit longer, but I use this one. Okay, so let's put our yarn on our hook, the yarn we're going to be using to attach or sew our leaves edging to our Afghan. Okay, there's our yarn, and you can get a fairly long piece if you'd like. Alrighty, and we're going to put the edge of our Afghan and the edging back to back. Okay, just like so. And we're going to go into the first back loop, and then we're going to go up under that first reverse single crochet in the back of it, that loop, either one that you choose to go through. I'm going into the one that's leaning that way. Okay, and I'm going to leave a tail to weave in, and all I'm doing is going from up down under that loop, and then going from the bottom up, picking up the loop on the back of that crab stitch. Okay. And we're going to keep going and go into the very next stitch. Let me zoom in so you can see it more clearly. Okay, go pick up that next back loop, and then that next crab stitch, we're going to go under that piece of yarn that's going that way. Okay, and I tend to weave pretty tight, so after doing a few, I think I may have picked up 2 loops at this. Let me go back. I have to stretch it out because I weave so tight that it bunches up a little bit, so I just stretch it out as I go after doing a few. Go. I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm going into the next one and picking up that back loop. There we go. Into the next stitch, that back loop, pick it up, and then go under that back loop of the edging. Just like so. And then the next stitch, that back loop of the border, and then the back loop of the edging. Next stitch, back loop and back loop. And just try not to skip any of your stitches. Next stitch, the back loop of your border on your Afghan, and then go up under that back loop of the next crab stitch on the edging of the leaves edging, like so, and just do that all the way around your Afghan. And if you can't find that loop, which I couldn't on a few of them, just pick a loop back there. Like sometimes they don't turn out right, like that one. It doesn't look right, but I still just went under a loop. Be sure to pick up a loop under behind each crab stitch. Just try not to skip any, and try not to skip any back loops on your Afghan. So there we go. Back loop and back loop. We're going to go down and then up with the needle. Okay, back loop of your border of your Afghan down, and then up under the back loop of the crab stitch. Okay, and mine gets a little tight over here, and I have to pull it, and that loosens up that joining yarn that we're sewing in, and that way it's as stretchy as the blanket. Okay, because you don't want that part to be tight. Okay, so, and I'm about halfway done with this. And also the yarn can get a little twisted the more times you do this with every stitch. And I just take the yarn and run it through my hand gently, like that, just to straighten out that twist. Okay, and then it's good to go. But that's all we're doing to attach the edging all the way around the border of the Afghan. And then we can weave in the edges, and we are essentially done with this project. And I'm still going to go back and do just a couple things, like I'm going to look at weaving in, not weaving in, but closing up those bigger spaces just a tad, just a little bit. I don't want to change the way the Afghan looks, because I love the way it looks. Just, it's perfect. Okay. And I'm just going to finish out this sample with you, and because I'm almost done. And then we are going to weave in some ends. And then when we're closing those bigger holes or gaps in the Afghan, it's going to be on my actual Afghan, so it'll be the smaller yarn, so it won't be as clear as this, but I think you'll still be able to see it if I zoom in. Okay, and let's see here, we have have 1 and 2 left. That's our first one. Or actually the last one that we did, our last crab stitch on that row of the edging. Okay. So that's next to the last one. And then the last one, there it is. Okay. Alrighty, so I'm done with weaving that sample of the edging onto the Afghan, and let's see, let's zoom out just a little bit, and there we go. I'm going to stretch it out just a little bit. Okay. So it looks like that. I love the way it looks. It's such a genius pattern. I just love it. Anyway, so we're going to weave in some ends now. And I am going to take the needle off of this, and we're going to weave in some ends on our leaves. Okay, I left kind of a short tail on here because it's just a sample piece. Okay, so let's sew this in, and of course you can sew in your ends any way you choose. It's your Afghan. And there are probably way better videos out there on YouTube that, you know, there are people a lot more advanced than I am at crocheting, a lot more savvy. But this is how I'm doing it on my Afghan. Okay, we're going to make sure that's tight, that last knot that we did. Okay, there's the front of the leaves, and we're going to start weaving it in on the back of the leaves. Okay. So just pick one of these on the edge. Let's go under it. And now we're going to be weaving directly into the leaf. Just start picking up loops with your needle, keeping in mind the shape of the leaf. Let's keep the where we're weaving in the ends, excuse me, let's keep it out of the center of the leaf. Let's keep it around the edging. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So do that for a little bit, loosen it up, and then let's go back the other way. I can't tell if that's, no, it's not zoomed in. Let me zoom in and make sure it's focused. It never looks like it's focused when it's not zoomed in. But y'all, I don't know, y'all probably could have seen it just fine. Okay, so I'm going to go back the other way and pull up. Okay, and you can go around and do the other side. I don't know if I left enough yarn to do that. Enough of a tail. Okay, so y'all can do that, and you can go back again and try to keep it on the back mainly. Like if any of it's going to show through, try to keep it on the back of the leaf. Okay, so there's that, and you can't see it on the front, which is awesome. I'm going to grab my little scissors and I'm going to cut that. Okay, I've already stretched it. Now I'm going to pull it a little bit. Cut right there. Be careful not to cut your Afghan. And then pull it again and it disappears under the stitches. And there we go. So that's for the leaves. And now we have this right here. That is where we started our next row after the leaves. Okay, so let's sew that in. And this was going to be a shorter video. I tried. I just can't do it. I tried. But this, you can go down and then weave it in through here. But it's already right here, you know, and we have all these to weave in over here. So I'm going to go ahead and weave this in this leaf. And just go up and then start weaving in, just like we did with our tail that was on our leaf. Okay, we went one way and we can go back the other way. Okay, and then back the other way again. Okay, stretch it out a little so it's not all bunched up. Okay, you can go around the leaf. And then back the other way. And I think that will hold it pretty well. I overdo it when I'm weaving in the ends, and on my Afghan, it's going to be so weaved in. And I think I really just overdo it because I don't need to worry about it coming undone, but I do. Okay, so stretch it, pull it back some so we can cut it. Okay, and then when you pull it, it's going to pull that, should pull that back up under the stitches. Okay, and nobody will see it. So there's the leaves, and that's from the leaves and these next row. And we still have the other end of the leaves, and you do the exact same thing. Okay, but you don't have an ending here. You don't have a tail here because we started there, went down, went up, and did our row back on the crab stitches. And here we have our yarn where we ended our crab stitches, and then we also where we sewed on our edging to our Afghan. And with this, I am going to cut this yarn, and I'm going to cut this yarn about the same length. Okay. And this is from the edging, that last row, which is reverse single crochet. So I'm going to do this really quickly as possible. Okay, so let's turn this over to the back of the work, and that's where the crab stitch is not sticking out. And it's real easy to just start weaving in this because you have that all these crab stitches covering. Okay, so I'm just going to go in a few stitches. I'm going to go back just a little bit. And then I'm going to go back, going over a stitch to catch it, go back a little bit, and I'm going to pull it a little bit because you don't want it to tighten up your work. And then I'm going to go into the blanket just a little bit, just for good measure. And then back, like so. And then back over. And I think that's really good enough. I don't think it'll be coming out. Okay, and you can cut it. And there we go, it's done. And the same thing with the yarn that we use to attach the edging to the Afghan. We're going to sew it in the exact same way. Okay, just on the back of the work. Easy peasy. And go in a little bit and back. And you know, they say if you go in a few different directions that it will never come undone. So that would be awesome. So I try to go in a bunch of different directions if I can. All right. And of course on my Afghan, I'm going to actually sew it in a little more than that, but I mean that I'm going to do it the same way, just out longer. Okay, so cut it, stretch it. Alrighty, and so that is how you attach the edging to your Afghan and weave in the ends. And I've got all these weaved in, and of course the ones on this side you would do exactly the same. That's from the leaves. This is from attaching, and this is from the last row of reverse singles on the actual Afghan sample piece. But anyway, this is how it looks. This is how it's attached. And in the next video, I'll actually show you how I'm going to join, where I had to add an extra leaf. You know, in case you need to add more leaves, you can join right where the reverse single crochet row is and join your leaves together. So we'll be doing that, and I will see you in the next video.